Now, why do we even really need this? Isn't the Blazor pattern fine on its own? Yeah, people are doing amazing things with the Blazor framework as it is, and it's great. But when you find yourself looking at a code file, looking at a Blazor component and saying, oh, shoot, there's a lot going on in here. I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on. That means that there's an architectural element that is missing that is trying to emerge. And a lot of times that architectural element is separation of the different types of code that you see in that file. And of course, from decades of user interface work, we understand that it's really useful to separate code in the user interface into two types. One is the view code and the other is the controller code. And I'm hoping that most of you are already in the habit of separating model code from the UI and have already factored that out. But I'm pulling up this Blazing Pizza, which is an example Blazor application, and I'm gonna actually go over to one of the files on GitHub, Blazing Pizza. It's Brady Gaster is the maintainer of this, and it's a good sample project to show Blazor. But when I look at and this is a very simple application, and just pull up the configure pizza dialog component, right? And you look at this, and in the very simple cases, we got to scroll down a little bit, but in view code for screens that have a lot of different pieces, the markup, you're going to scroll, no big deal. All right. And at the bottom is where we have behavior, and we have some if statements here, some commands here. And this is in the simplest case. This is only going to grow from here. It's only going to grow from here. And we have a pizza count 6. There's a little bit of logic embedded there. And these are the simple cases. In the real world, you have files that go on for days, and it just gets worse from here. So when I look at that, I think the model, from default, my recommendation just almost all the time is to separate it out. All right. Okay, here's the URLs, and so just look for Brady Gaster Blazing Pizza on GitHub. You can see all that code. And I'm not picking on Brady. Brady's a good friend of mine, and it's a great sample. I could have picked any Blazor sample out there, and it's just inherent, in my opinion. The applications that you work on are going to get a lot more complex, and the logic's all going to run together. So how do we separate it? All right. And if I haven't convinced you that this is even a useful thing to do, then you'll probably disconnect from the webinar anyway. But for those that are still with me, this is how we do it, and this is how we think of it.